919-205, that's where we be. 919-205, that's me. Alec, Alabama, that is where you always find us. You never gotta remind us. You will never overclimb us. Alec, Alabama, that is where you always find us. You never gotta remind us. You will never overclimb us. 205-919.
Greetings, everybody. I am Dr. Thomas Rashard Easley, and I'm online with my friend and sister friend,
Adrian Charleston.
That's the True Butterfly, y'all. And we are together, genuinely unexpected. We welcome you to our podcast. We are going to be talking about a number of things. As a matter of fact, to give you a little tips, we're going to be talking about blackness. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about religion. We're going to talk about us, relationships. But today, we're going to talk about a subject that I do think is very relevant with what's going on right now in 2018. And this is what I'm titling it, Butterfly. I don't want to talk about white supremacy anymore. All right?
Yes.
Now, when we talk about white supremacy, I work in the academic setting. I work at and I'm not saying this to be egotistical or to be big, but these days now I work at an Ivy League school. I work at a private Ivy League school. And I feel that at our schools and in our universities in general, I do think a lot of what we do around diversity, equity, and inclusion type stuff, we focus a lot on whiteness. And I think that we do it, in my opinion, we do it from a white supremacist stance, because still in the end, it's always, in my opinion, about educating white people, trying to connect with white people, which I'm actually all about, because I don't believe in being separatist and being away from people. I actually like people. But for me, the problem is that we're discussing it so much that, in my personal opinion, sometimes I feel like I'm getting dumber. So let me say this, and then Butterfly, please jump in. When I first started doing diversity work, this was like back about 15 years ago. It was about diversity. Then it became diversity and inclusion. About 3 years later.
Yep.
Then it became diversity, equity, and inclusion. And now it's becoming inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. But in my opinion, still, what are we talking about? We're still just talking about how to value difference and open the door for people who are different than, let's say in our case, let's say we were running the show with two black people. This is our podcast. So we're talking about opening the door to people who are not black, talking about opening the door to people who may not be heterosexual, who may or may not be Christian Muslim. So in my opinion, really all we're talking about is how to value difference and how to bring it into the fold. Okay, now, when we talk about racism in our country, and I come from a civil rights family. I come from a family that was entrenched in community organizing and civil rights. So when I first started learning about diversity, it was white people. Mm-hmm. Then it was whiteness, okay? Very white. See, there are people of color too, you know what I'm saying? Then it became white privilege. And it was like exploring the knapsack. I also want to recognize Dr. Peggy McIntosh for that. Then I started hearing white supremacy. Then I started hearing about white fragility, like when they can't take when you talk about it. And everything just keep going back to white. It's just white this, white that's, just like, it's just all white. And I'm like, look, first, I identify as a black person. So if anything, I think that my people are more interested to explore and study anyway. So I'm more interested in studying us and understanding us. And if everything that we're doing is all about still breaking down walls for white people, in my opinion, while I get it, because historically they have been ahead and they have been on top because of obvious reasons with the way that the United States was structured,
right?
The women's movement and a number of things. But what I'm also saying is the way that we explore this, to me, is from a white supremacist stance, because we're still keeping them at the top and it's about reaching them. And I'm like, hold up, no, I'm working with my sister Butterfly. I think that in this day and time, we don't have to be so open to discuss that to find our way in. I'm like, you know what, we can go out and we can create our own and create a demand where they have to pay attention to us. Now, what I'm not saying is we do that and that alleviates or that negates all these other issues like police brutality. I'm not saying that it gets rid of that. All I'm saying is for me, I'm tired of looking at them like they're the one.
Right.
Because for me, they are not. So anyway, let me pause there. Rashard gonna be quiet and calm down and try to sip my liquor without burning myself, and you see how my sister, the Queen Butterfly, feel about any of that. Yo, what's up?
Well, I mean, my mind goes to a lot of different places when you talk about stuff like that. And it's kind of like, and I hate to say this, but people are always looking for a white savior, even in Black issues. So it's like, and I know like we have people of other races that are allies for people of other races, people of other sexes, people of other gender and gender identity and all the other stuff. We have allies, but people really search for that. And the sad thing is that in most things, it's not validated until it's validated by a white person. And that's the sad thing about many things in life, because we've spoken up about a lot of things, but like even like the latest stuff with police being called on Black people for no reason.
Yes.
It didn't get notice or attention until white people started doing it. White people started filming it. White people started putting it out there. And they're like, oh, they've been talking about this for years. This is really happening. They didn't know, they claimed, you know, they didn't see it was really happening or know it was really happening until it was identified publicly by white people. So it's just one of those things that not all races, because a lot of races don't care. And we shouldn't.
That's
we
true.
shouldn't care as much, but it's just like our plight, it doesn't seem like it's noticed or reached or taken into account until white people start fighting for us. It's like children say stuff, but people don't notice till their parents speak up for them. That makes sense?
That makes sense. No, that makes sense.
It's kind of, I hate that it has to be that way, that we have to have someone speak for us, because when we speak alone, it doesn't work. And again, everybody needs allies, everybody needs help. I just don't like that we can't be that for ourselves. And it's not that we can't, we're just not allowed. We're just ignored when it happens. It's just
No, that's good. Okay, so now let me just take another slant to it. I want to kind of deal with the etymology in a way, if you will, but like kind of white supremacy. To me, what do those words mean? To me, okay, so I think about, in some ways, let me kind of do like a juxtaposition, white supremacy to the movie The Bourne Supremacy. Now, I like Jason Bourne. Let me not act like I don't, okay? Those are like these, it's about a military man who becomes a spy. It's not Matt Damon. He's one of my favorite actors to watch.
One of my favorite trilogies, actually. I've seen it quite a few times.
You connect on that, all right. And you remember it was what? The Bourne Identity, The Bourne Supremacy, The Bourne Ultimatum.
Yes.
Right? And then, of course, they brought him back, too, later.
Right.
The Bourne Supremacy means that he is supreme.
Right.
You don't mess with him. He was this
everybody else.
Right. And of course he does in the film. I mean, Jason Bourne is the man, And so I think about the word supreme. It means, to me, it is above. It's above all. It's like, it is the one. It's what we look towards. That's the ivory tower. Like that's what we're trying to, go towards. And the reason that I don't even like discussing white supremacy like that is because I don't believe white people are supreme to us. So the same way I don't like to say white supremacy working in academia, I also don't like to use language like predominantly white institutions.
Right.
Versus historical Black colleges and universities or Hispanic serving institutions, because I even see the racism or the supremacy, if you will, even in that language. Because historical Black colleges and universities aren't historical Black colleges and universities. They were HBCUs because they had to be. We opened our schools because they wouldn't let us into their schools.
Exactly.
So why are we historical and they're predominant? See, so here again, there's that elevation again. There's that predominance again. And I'm like, you are not above me. You are not above us. And there's still things we have at our schools, and I am an HBCU graduate myself, that there are things that we have at our schools that you need at your school. So that's why I say historical white institutions. I will not elevate you and put you above me like that anymore because you're not. And I really wish that more people would start to use that language, because I think that even working here at this institution that I work at, this is my first semester. This semester, my friend, we had a salon or community conversation around white supremacy in the school that I work in.
Right.
Now for me, I'll be honest, in some ways, I'm not gonna say that that's not that big of a deal, because it is a big deal. It's a big deal to do that in a school that's never done it before.
Right.
It's a big deal to do that in a place or at a place that hasn't wrestled with it on that level. But for me, coming from the South, where we have dealt with that, at least in my life, I feel like I've dealt with that my whole adulthood.
Oh yeah.
I've had to face it. Every job that I've had to face it. It's like every supervisor that I had has been white. So I've always had to deal with this. I've always worked in places, for the most part, where I was either the only guy in the county when I was in Montana, the only guy in the city. Another time when I was in Montana, only Black guy. or the only black guy in the school, like, when I was studying. So I've dealt with this. It's a tired term because I still feel like we're putting them above us. And as a person who I love to study blackness. I love to express my blackness. I love to celebrate my blackness. I love to celebrate other people's blackness. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not mad at Oprah for being on her own magazine. Do you hear me? I ain't mad at you.
Yeah.
You gotta do it.
Own channel.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? She got her own conversations. Okay, got you. I mean, even Chris Rock was talking about his divorce and all the things he went through, and he was like, that's a sign that I made it. So I want to explore us some more. And we have so many of our own people to look at, from a Madam C.J. Walker to a Maxine Waters now, to Fannie Lou Hamer and Ella Baker, who are really like the backbone of really the civil rights movement and getting people like Martin Luther King involved. But we still sitting around here talking about, we got to get white people to do this. We even have our own scholars. Don't get me wrong. We got some strong scholars that talk about white spaces and black spaces. And don't get me wrong, I'm not mad at that. I'm just saying, I think we give them too much time, too much airplay. In my opinion, I say too much free space in our minds and in our psyche.
Right.
And I feel like we react to them. See, in my place of work, where I'm like one of the only couple senior administrators that are black, I walk into my building and a white person don't speak to me, I get mad at that. Some ways I might be happy. I don't feel like talking. I just got to work. It's 8 in the freaking morning. I don't want to talk,
Right.
But some people like, man, they didn't talk to me. I'm like, okay.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just saying. So, let me just back up and let me maintain my professionalism.
No, they do that where I am too. First, I want to tell you, supremacy is the state or condition of being superior to all others in authority, power, or status. Right. Says a lot, doesn't it?
Now, here's the thing that I want to ask.
Yes.
Is that a perceived thing too, or is that a literal thing?
It doesn't say. It's a noun. It's a state or condition of being superior. Didn't say it has to be perceived. It's saying that they just are.
Okay.
See, for me, just is.
So for me, they are not just is. See, for me, I can't. You see, I can't, just based on those words, and thank you for doing that. Thank you for looking that up.
I'm all about words and their meanings and how they equate, and I think we should do that more so we can use stuff properly. And not that you were using it improperly. I just like to look up words just to know that I'm using it properly so I can speak about it properly. But
that's fine. I appreciate you for doing that. And I think, that we were, like the whole time. I think so those words in itself, that's why I have to challenge that. I don't believe that they're above me. I don't think that they are in authority everywhere, because they are not. Because we're in Africa, they're not in authority. If we're in China, they're not in authority. Heck, if we go to certain parts of Baltimore, Maryland, they're not in authority.
I was about to say, you can go to Europe, but they don't see their whiteness as better than anybody else, because I've been there. It's a completely different feel and vibe. It's just, not just because I've seen, since we've had our new president, I've seen the stuff come out of Europe where they do have some of the same issues that we have. I didn't see it when I was there, but it's mainly here a whole lot. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
So, some white people, they just don't like anybody with any shade, tint, tone to themselves.
No, you're right. Well, an interesting thing about that, and I appreciate you bringing up Europe, and there have been some scholars who have actually even identified this too, that white people don't see themselves as a race. So to bring this up even to them is going to be challenging because they're the norm to them. And for me now, it's like, no, you are not the norm. Matter of fact, in my household, I'm the norm. Obviously. But, I grew up with black parents. I grew up with black grandparents. So for me, I'm glad that I grew up in a space where I was around us. Right. And I learned to appreciate us, value us, and love us before going into an arena or going to an environment where I see so many other things. And then it's like the thing that we go to, or the, I was going to say like the level or the governance that we go to is something, in my opinion, that's been designed by white people. So then it's up to us, all of us, including white people, to break it down and to change it. And I think one of the ways that you change it is, yes, explore it and understand it. Know your history so you don't repeat it. But I think another thing is put it in its place at the same time too. Put it into perspective. I think that in 2018, we spend too much time analyzing them, which means that we don't discuss or we don't discover ourselves, and we don't look at how that stuff impacts us. And so my thing is, or I feel like this, we look at how it impacts us, but we continue to give, in my opinion, the credit and the onus to them. And I'm like, no, I'm taking it on me now. So
Right.
I'm deciding that I'm deciding to continue to embrace Black people, well, really all people, including white people. Like I just want to be open to everybody because I don't know everything. And I want to learn about everybody. But I have no problem admitting and saying, what's most salient to me? What's my priority? Black people.
Right. And at the same time, it's not, you know how people always want to say, it's not all white people, it's not all this. And you know what? It's not. Everybody's an individual, everybody's a person. And I am the onus of, if you treat people like people, I'm not even gonna say the way you want to be treated, because I mean, I just treat people like people. I treat one person like the next person, and however it comes out. Sometimes you have to switch your language and how you talk to some people, because like you said, some people are fragile. And again, that's Black people, white people, Asian, whatever. Like, it just depends on the actual person, and being in my field that I'm in, I pick up on that. I can tell how I can talk to people. Like during therapy, I have all type of people. So I know who I can just take, and I call it hitting them upside the head. Some people I can take a rock and just hit them upside the head with some stuff, and they'll take it. And some people I have to slow walk it because they're gonna break down on the way. So I can't just hit them with it because they're not ready.
Right.
And different people I can pick up and tell when they're ready. And again, it's Black and white. Hispanic, I don't have that many Asian, but I mainly have Black, white. One from, where was she, Russia? Somewhere. So that was a totally different, right? That was a totally different experience. So, so you see how the dynamics are different for different people. And I say the one from Russia was different because the way she understood words, the way she understood language and everything is different than how Americans do. And people will look at her and think that she's just white. But when you start talking to her, I'm like, whoa, this is, yeah. I'm like, where are you from again? You know, accent, all this other stuff going on. So, okay. Yeah, you treat people like people. And when I say like the ones I hit upside the head with, they aren't always Black. and again, when I hit them, some of them say, why haven't you told me this sooner? And I say, you weren't ready. And some of them like, oh, I'm not ready. So it just depends. I want to go back to when you were saying how you grew up. I grew up in Black household, all Black neighborhood, all Black, everything around me until junior high. They would bus us to what they called the white school. And it was a good ways away. Like there were schools closer than where they used to send us. Again, all Black neighborhood. It was 2. University States, Tiffany Pines, at least 2. And then like other areas where it was like mixed Black and white. But 2 predominantly Black neighborhoods. We would go out to the country and we went to Pine Forest. Anybody know about it? It was a country school. They had KKK members. We knew about it. It was predominantly white. And here we are, and it's all thrust upon us. Like the people who grew up in a white household, who are in this white supremacist attitude or state of mind, and then they encounter us. And for a lot, it was kind of junior high, it wasn't a lot of tension. There was this one chick, I swear she would drop stuff on my head on purpose because my locker was under hers. And I knew she was from that area. It's Linden, North Carolina. And they supposedly have a lot of KKK, a lot of stuff out there. But we had a race fight before. And that's when we got to high school. I know, right? Yeah, it was a big race fight to where people would just, once the fight started, it didn't even matter who. Well, it kind of did matter who was cool with who, because everybody knew the white people who were cool with the Black people. So they pretty much didn't get it. But it was one of those things where everybody was just fighting, because we have like a big foyer when you come into our school. And it was just fighting. It didn't really last that long. They kind of contained it pretty quickly. And it was, but it stuck in my mind as kind of like race fights, because that's pretty much what it was. It was some Black people against some white people. And again, it wasn't everybody, but it was large enough to be an issue. But they never discussed it. They never talked about it. Now they have all these counselors. We had one of the first school shootings in 1986.
What?
Yeah, at the high school. And I wasn't there. My sister was there. I was at the junior high. And I forgot how we heard about it. Because, you know, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have cameras. We didn't have pictures. We didn't have anything like that. And we heard about it at the junior high. And we were like, oh, my goodness. Like, the school was locked down. We didn't know who got shot. We knew, like, 5 people got shot. I think it was, like, 5. Nobody died. Quite a few people got shot. So it's like I don't know how it got to our school by word of mouth. Because again, our schools aren't connected. They were maybe 4 or 5 miles apart, the high school and the junior high. But we knew about it. And I remember everybody being upset and trying to figure out who was shot, what's going on. And people don't look at it like that. And it was actually a black guy came to shoot another black guy over a white girl. Nobody really talked about it. In our area, we knew about it. It probably wasn't the first school shooting ever.
Okay.
But it was a school shooting in 1986.
Okay.
So
Wow.
now they're taking all these measures and trying to do all this stuff. And again, it wasn't at the magnitude that they're doing now, because this person was specifically going after this other person and mistakenly shot all these people. Still, I think all of it still goes into how you treat people, how you, like the people who are doing the school shootings and stuff now, white males.
Yeah.
Going into the schools because they don't have friends. So that's showing that, I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but I'm going to say it. Even white people are treating their own people like crap.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? So it's not even about, as you say, you don't want to use the word supremacy because they're not superior, because you're treating quote unquote own people like crap to where they want to come to school and kill you. Like, and they say some of these people are tied to racist stuff and all this, but if they were, they wouldn't be killing their own people if that's all it was. Right. So that means they're an outsider all around. I still go back to treat people better. I don't remember treating anybody bad in high school. Actually, some of the people that were outcasts, I would reach out to and talk to. And just because, like, I know a guy, he was in one of my classes, he studied, his religion was voodoo.
Okay.
I would talk to him. People wouldn't talk to him because they found that out. I'm like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
It's another talking point. It's how you get to know people. So, yeah.
All right.
In my life and in my world, nothing is too good for me and nobody is better than me. So as long as you go about life knowing that, and I mean nobody. They might have different stuff. They might have a different status. They might be higher in certain ways. They'll make them better.
Right. Yes.
So,
well, look, on that tip, True Butterfly, I think we can get ready to wrap this one up because in all honesty, everything you said you said it better than I would have anyway. And because that's the point that I was going to close off on, that whole perception or that self-esteem, how I see myself, that I don't see anybody better than me. But what that often is that I don't see myself better than anybody else. So since I don't elevate myself, I can go around whoever and I can go off on whoever too. I don't care if you're the president of a school or the country or a fraternity or a sorority.
Yes.
You can get your butt kicked just like everybody else. But at the same time, you can also get love like everybody else if we can come together. And you see what I'm saying? So I think we explain why we don't want to talk about it, because we don't see people better than us, but we also don't see ourselves better than other people. So on one lane, I'll say I'm a person, but I don't have a problem identifying as Black, African American. I know that there's more to me than that too.
Yes.
There's more to a person, even if they say white, like you're more than that. It's like that. All that is just a color, black and number the color too. Let's put it like this. Look, y'all, we appreciate y'all for listening to us.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to Genuinely Unexpected. Now, before we go, because we have multiple things that we do, my sister friend, Arthur, she's the bomb. So before we go, Butterfly, how about this? Can you tell them how to find you, please?
Yes, I am everywhere. My AKA is True Butterfly, but you can find me everywhere under Adrienne Charleston. Instagram, Butterfly Flow Life, Facebook, Adrienne Charleston, website, www.adrienne-charleston.com. So so guess what? Google me. I am Googleable. I'm the only Adrienne Charleston out there doing what I do.
She's fabulous, y'all. And you can find me. You need to go to my website. It's RashadEasley.com, RashadEasley. You can find me on Facebook at either Thomas Easley or Rashad Easley. I'm in both. You can also find me on Instagram at Rashad Ease. You can find me on Twitter also at Rashad Ease. And that's actually what I go by. I make music. We are both authors. She has published books though, y'all. And, and also work with Higher Ups University, which is also a part of Adrienne Charleston too. So Easy Branch, Adrienne Charleston, Higher Ups University, we've come together to make Genuinely Unexpected We
Yeah.
thank y'all for listening to us. Get ready for another one. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Easy the words I'm saying, go ahead and take it. Even folks from the hood didn't accidentally make it. What you put your time in, make sure it can improve you. How do you know if it works? Does it give back to you? Question for the world, ask yourself and see. The good thing about this, it doesn't matter what you believe. I know that it's a lot that you don't know, so you better learn. What will you do, young nation, when it's your turn? When it's your turn?